Hey guys, what's going on? It's Keenarakami, and today we're going to be talking about Persona 3 and what we can expect. Is it going to be a remaster? Is it going to be a port? Or is it going to be a remake? We're going to go over which one is the best option, and we're going to give you our thoughts on what we think the perfect Persona 3 modern release could be. Sit back, relax, let's get it on. Hey guys, we're going to be talking about Persona 3 today, and who better to talk about Persona 3 than Kuro from the Midnight Channel. How you doing today, Kuro?
Doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me here today. Can't wait to talk about this.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. You're the only person that I wanted to have for this video, because my first video that I saw of you was your Persona 3 FES versus portable video and which one you should play. So it's an absolute honor to have you on for this video. And first things first, out of the way, you know, Persona 25th is happening right now. February announcement's coming up. As of this recording, we haven't gotten it yet. It's late January when we're recording this. So I doubt that anything's going to be announced for this month. But do you think we will get Persona 3 at some point on modern platforms during this anniversary event?
Yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance of that happening, especially with Persona 4 Golden releasing recently. That did very well as far as we know on Steam and everything. So yeah, there's a pretty good chance of that.
Who would have thought that that would have done well? I mean, just still blows my mind. But
right.
But today we're going to be talking about various leaks and everything, and what we think is going to happen if Persona 3 does come. And we're pretty much also going to piece together our preferred version of Persona 3 that we would like. However, what we're going to start off with today is a leak from Panhime. It was a few weeks ago. In Panhime, they said that Persona 3 will be a combination, will be remastered on modern consoles. It will be basically Persona 4, Persona 3 portable with FES assets and gameplay. That's what I'm guessing. Kind of like a mix in between the two. I wanted to get your thoughts on if that's going to happen, and if it is, or if not, why that is.
Well, I think that I don't know if there's much validity to that. If you look at the pattern as far as like all the remasters or ports I've done in the last 5 years, I guess, you know, whether it's come from Golden or Catherine Classic or the Nocturne Remastered that they did, I guess I don't want to be mean about it, but it's been kind of a lazy port at this point. All of them have been pretty low effort, and you know, shout out to all the studios that have actually been doing these ports, because Atlas is not doing them themselves. So looking at all those patterns, I really don't see them really remaking, if you will, like reworking a combination between two games together. I think it sounds like a lot of work. I don't know anything about game development, but I figure this sounds a lot more than just porting a game.
Honestly, I think bringing Persona 3 portable and taking it like into FES would be way more hard work than just slapping Persona 3 FES with the with you controlling your entire team and calling it a day.
Right, yeah.
Either way, you're going to have to rework the system, because if you bring it into FES and do like cutscenes, you're going to have new cutscenes, new animated cutscenes for the female protagonists and everything. And it's just, I think that would be too much work. So I wanted to give positives and negatives of both of these happening, Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable, getting remastered to modern platforms, and also the negatives associated with them as well. So let's start with FES. Do you think they would do that first before Portable? And what do you think the positives for FES getting remastered on the modern consoles and or ported? What do you think that would do for us?
So first of all, I do want to get out of the way. I know people don't want this, but I think the version that we're going to get is the portable version. I don't think we're going to get the FES version. But personally, if we were to get the FES version, I would like to see, like you were talking about, things like the body control, and I've seen a lot of people talk about like HD, cutscenes, and a lot of the cutscenes are pretty old. If you play the game, and I'm sure I know you did, the cutscenes look like very early 2000s anime. But what doesn't look early 2000s anime are the movies. So if they were to do like, they were to take the cutscenes from the movies I think that would be pretty cool.
That's something, I think that there's actually a mod for that for FES, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that would be very cool. And I kind of like this conversation of what we're having, because you think portable is going to happen. I'm more of an FES person, so let me give you my reasons why I think FES would be better. I think FES would be better because it is pretty much the way Persona 3 is meant to be played. It was FES wasn't the original. Persona 3 was the original, but FES added the answer and added a few more social links as well, such as Elizabeth. And I think it's more reminiscent of what Persona 4 is, rather than Persona 3 Portable basically being a visual novel, getting rid of all the anime cutscenes. I think if we were to get a straight port, I think FES would be best. However, Remaster is kind of up in the air, because Persona 3 Portable needs to be reworked because, PSP graphics and everything. And they could always add in cutscenes. That's just my take. But, I mean, why do you think Persona 3 FES would not come to modern platforms and they would do Portable instead?
Well, first of all, I do want to clarify for anyone that is listening. I do not want it best. I also agree with you. I think FES is the best version. Portable, I think, it's the most, so to speak, modern version, especially with having the female protagonist and new characters that they added and everything. So, from the perspective of looking at the artwork, for example, for the 25th anniversary, they not only do they have the male protagonist, but they also have the female protagonist in all the artwork. So, I think there's a pretty good chance that the portable version is gonna be the version that they port, because of all the promotional artwork shows her. Now she's like more well known. She's in Persona Q too as well. So I think that at this point Atlas is very much aware that a lot of people like the female protagonist too, and if they were just to completely just not do anything with her, I think like it will also be bad, as far as like for fans or anything. So I think that's my reasoning. That's pretty much it. Not that I think that is the better version or anything. I just feel like, logically speaking, with like a lot of the artwork that they show and everything, they show both of the main protagonists. So I think it makes sense.
And you make 100% sense right there. I mean, why wouldn't they capitalize on that? And honestly, I could see them going for that, even though, Portable does have more of a visual novel feel, no anime cutscenes. They could always work those in. So I don't know if you would classify that as a remake or what, or kind of combination of both.
Yeah.
But what do you think do you think we're just going to get a straight port, or do you think they're actually going to put time and effort into these things and give us the best of both worlds?
Well, that's what I hope, right? We all want the best version possible, right? Whatever that may be. But I honestly just think it's gonna be a port. Maybe it's just me being like a Debbie Downer without those properties and everything. But we haven't had a lot of like big remasters or anything like that. Sure, you can bring up the Nocturne Remaster. But aside from that, like as far as like Persona stuff or anything, we haven't really had like a big remaster or anything like that. So it'll be cool. I really would like to see like a combination of both of the Persona games, like the Persona 3 games and everything. See what they can do, and what did they add or modify or something like that. A perfect version will very much be appreciated, but I don't know if it will happen.
And we'll get into our perfect version here in a second, but you mentioned Nocturne Remastered, and we both know that wasn't Atlas's best efforts into remastering a game. But I think it kind of goes along the lines of my thinking as well, as an FES getting this treatment instead of Portable, because Nocturne is running on the same engine as Persona 3, I believe. They just put the assets in Unity, upscaled it, and released it into the wild. It was a pretty easy way to do it. I mean, obviously, we don't know game development. We don't know how easy that is. But, I mean, you put it in Unity and slap it on for $50. To me, that's more possible. Do you think that would be possible as well?
Yeah, it just really depends on the big thing I think that I was talking about earlier is That's fine. I think that is a very possible thing. But Persona has a lot of cutscenes, especially a lot of anime cutscenes. Something that Nocturne doesn't really have.
Right.
So if you play Nocturne, 99% of the game is literally just like the game itself. You're running around and doing stuff and everything. But Persona, in that sense, is a more cinematic game. There's a lot of cutscenes, and one thing that I didn't like about Nocturne is that all the animated cutscenes, in fact, all the cutscenes were almost like in that 4x3, not remastered.
Woo.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You go from 16:9 full screen gameplay to box format.
Yeah. So like that's one thing that I actually never thought about until just now. If they end up doing something like that, that would probably look worse than if they just did like a like HD port. You know, hey, just upscale this thing and call it a day.
Right.
Because if they end up doing that, then that probably look worse. I don't know why. I'm just having this image of my mind of like the beginning cutscene.
Right.
And
I can see it too, and it looks god awful. There is a mod out there for an HD version of. There's a widescreen HD patch for P3 FES on PCSX2 if you do emulate it, and I gotta say the cutscenes. They don't look that good in widescreen format. They would definitely need to touch those up for real.
Yeah, and they definitely didn't on the remaster. So I'm kind of that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh, if they do that, it's probably not gonna look that good. Yeah.
Now our perfect version of Persona 3. I want to get into this right quick. What are some things that if by a snowball's chance in hell that they did make a perfect version of Persona 3, what would you like to see in it?
That will be okay. So first of all, I know a lot of people have mentioned this before, but if they were to run Persona 3 on like the Persona 5 engine or something like that, using like the dancing models and everything, that'll just be an entirely new game, like a remaster or like a remake. I'll be okay with that. I actually really want something like that. The first time that I played Persona 5, the vanilla one of my thoughts when I was playing like the first few hours was, man, imagine if Persona 4 and Persona 3 look like this. And so like if there was like a perfect remake version, I would like them to like utilize those models that they have, and that will just be fantastic. I think that, but at the end of the day, that will take an entire time. You know, that's
Right.
really a new game, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know, that will be, for me, that will be like the perfect, I guess, version. They don't have to modify the story much, I think, and they wouldn't really have to like remake like the social links or anything. It's just literally just like the graphics and the gameplay. Maybe do Tartarus a little bit different, because I know it's a big complaint for a lot of people too. Although I don't know how they could change Tartarus to make it
Right.
better for people. But yeah, that will be like my perfect version. I don't really want a big change as far as like story or anything like that.
So your preferred version would pretty much be a remake, right?
Yeah, that'll be like my preferred version.
So my preferred version, if we were to get something here, of course, would be you put FES, you put team base, you get to control your teammates, you have that option. And I mean, the female protagonist I would like in there as well, but let's be for real, that would be too much work to work into FES itself. I would like that as well. So if we were to get that, let's rework the anime cutscenes, let's put the female protagonist in, let's get all your social links and everything, the new ones with Elizabeth. You could leave in or leave out the answer. I mean, either way, I don't know how that would work with the female protagonist if they were to do that. But my preferred version of Persona 3 would be FES with portables, combats, with the turn-based team, with the team-based system, and rework some of the anime cutscenes. So there you go. Not a complete remake. I don't want a complete remake. It doesn't need a remake. I think if we were to get a remake, in my opinion, Persona 1 and 2 deserve remakes way more. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, of course, this is just a theoretical. We the crazy scenario or anything. But yeah, realistically speaking, Persona 1 and 2, the third one, way more than Persona 3. Persona 3 is still one of those games that is still perfectly playable. Although there are some people that have some issues with and everything, I think still a game that you can perfectly play. Persona 1 and 2, I think that is harder for newcomers to get into those games.
Right, especially with like the 2D models and everything. And
Right, yeah.
if they were to put money into a project, I would much rather them do that. And I'm glad we can agree on that. Kuro, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a blast talking Persona 3 with you, man. Thank you so much for dropping by.
Of course, thank you for having me here.
And thank you all for listening to our conversation right here. Let's see what happens. What do you guys think is going to happen? Leave a comment down below. Make sure you follow Kuro's channel, subscribe to him. Make sure you like my video as well. And if you didn't like it, dislike it. I don't give a fuck. And make sure you're subscribed to my channel as well. So subscribe to both me and Kuro's channel. And we'll see you guys on the next video. King out.